It's time for the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games at Southern Utah University in Cedar City. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of a Utah sports tradition at utahsummergames.org. Participate in over 50 sports around the state. Then plan to join the opening ceremonies Friday, June 5th, presented by State Bank of Southern Utah. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games. Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5 KSL Sports Zone. We welcome Andy Bailey, NBA writer and analyst for Bleacher Report, back to the show. Andy, good morning.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Good. We gave you a little time, Andy. A little time to digest the draft lottery results. We know you keep an eye on the Jazz, even though you write about the entire NBA, got some ties to this part of the world. And I'm curious, now that you've thought about it, heard about it, maybe talked to people about it, what should the Jazz do, and what do you think they will do?
I think those two are going to be the same answer, and I think they're probably going to stay at number 2. I guess it would depend on what Washington asks for, but based on, and I guess this isn't much to base an opinion on, but like the fake trades that you see from media outlets, seems like it's too big of an ask from Washington to move up. If they really are insisting on like the number 2 and a future first and Ace Bailey, if I was the Jazz, and I would assume the Angels would see this the same way, I would assume they would just stick at number 2. Because in this draft, I think you have a chance at a superstar, whether you're at 1 or 2. So I don't know why you would give up Ace Bailey in this situation, or even some of the scenarios that I've seen that are slightly less than that ask. I would still probably stick at number 2. I'm sure there's a lot of people in and around Utah who have their heart set on Debonsa. But there's not even a guarantee he's going to go number 1. I think there's a real chance that Washington takes Peterson. And I think if you end up with either one of those guys, you're probably fine. And now there's this recent buzz that maybe Utah would like Boozer there too. And there's certainly a numbers argument to take him. So if Utah has wanted to move up for so long, and maybe there was a slight sting in not getting number 1 the night of the lottery, but of all the years to get number 2, this is probably the best one.
With that in mind, basically then there's nothing that the Jazz need to do is what you're saying, because of all the years to get number 2. This is plenty good enough. So what I'm hearing from you is they really don't need to do anything. Whichever kid they get will be fine, and they'll be ready to play ball when October rolls around.
Yeah, I think need is a great word to plug in here. They can be very content to stick at number 2 and probably or maybe potentially get a superstar there. The other thing that I was just thinking of, and there's a track record of this with Danny Ainge, maybe they even trade down a spot.
Yeah.
Like if Memphis is desperate to get one of those 2 guys, Debonsa or Peterson, and Utah really likes Boozer, maybe you get some assets out of this. And you still end up with potentially the best player of the group. I think there's still a chance that happens with Boozer. In my mind, and I'm not a draft expert, in terms of safety of the picks, it might go Debonsa, Boozer, Peterson to me. Upside, it might go Peterson, Debonsa, Boozer. I'm sure you ask 10 different people, you might get 10 different orders on that. So again, it's a good year to be number 2 because at least right now, it kind of looks like you can't really go wrong anyway.
You've been doing this long enough, and you've poured over past drafts. You know there is not a draft out there where the best player went number 1, the second best player went number 2, and the third best player went number 3. It never happens that way. You would always redraft it looking at pick 4, 6, 8, 12, 14, or 16. So if they really throw everything out the window, and if they don't care what anybody says on draft night, and they just think, hey, this is going to be like draft whatever, and a guy who's projected at 6 or 8 or whatever is really the guy, we're going to do it, whether that's trading down or taking him at 2. Who would that be? Is that like Acuff has been projected anywhere from 5 to 7 or 8? Wagler from Illinois is in that same kind of range. And history says that one of those guys is going to be awesome and much better than the guys who are going to be taken in front of him if form holds. Who would it be, you think?
This isn't an answer to your exact question because I'm bumping up in the range a little bit.
Okay.
I see what you're saying, and odds are there is going to be somebody really good in that range. But to me, I'm cheating a little bit. If there was a guy that I think could kind of break consensus is Caleb Wilson. And I say I'm cheating because everybody has him at number 4, seemingly. But I wouldn't be shocked, just based on the video I've seen of this guy, the athleticism is pretty freakish. And that doesn't always translate to the right kind of skill development that you need and the right mentality. But I think he has a chance to be really, really special. I don't know if I would bet on it or feel good enough about it to skip out on those top 3 guys. I still think, like you said, is there a chance that Utah shocks everyone and takes somebody not in that consensus top 3 at number 2? I think there's a chance, but I would be pretty scared to do that in this particular draft. I would probably, unless Memphis offers a haul or the Wizards ask for less than people think they are, I would probably just stick at number 2. And if it's DeBonsa, great. If it's Peterson, great. And like I said, maybe you can even make an argument for Boozer. I'm not giving you guys a lot of concrete answers, but I think that's kind of the beauty of this draft is you can win in a lot of different ways here.
These players all have different levels of skill, right? And they all do something really good, and maybe there's not something that is as good, and you have a question mark. As far as the 3 players, because I think that if everything stays as is, then those will be in whatever order, 1, 2, 3, right? And maybe we'll be surprised, you don't know, but I think that's the way it would go. And so their particular skill sets and the knocks on them, Boozer not being athletic, DeBonsa not being a great shooter. Peterson, I'm wondering, do you look at him and the knock on him is just the durability and maybe he checks the boxes on all the other aspects of the game?
I think durability is one, and I know that they have, after the fact, concocted some stories about his lack of availability, but they don't fully pass the sniff test to me. And so there's still sort of a mentality or approach question for him with me. The creatine thing it just seemed like something that an agent cooked up months after the fact.
Sounds good. Let's go with that.
Yeah. So that part of it scares me a little bit. His measurables and his skill set and his tough shot making ability are all very, very impressive. And I think he has superstar upside. I think all 3 of these guys have superstar upside, and I think Peterson might have the most. Over the history of the league, we have a few examples of these sort of archetypal shooting guards that can become the face of the league, like Jordan and Kobe, and now kind of SGA in that mold. And I think Peterson probably fits that the closest. So I really like him. I think that mentality thing might be the single biggest red flag of the 3, though.
Oh, you do? Okay, that's interesting.
And that's not to say that it's like terrifying to me. If he was available at number 2, I would take him because of that superstar upside. And he may be a guy who just fits NBA basketball better than college. And maybe an NBA training staff realizes, oh, this really was a cramping issue, and we know how to deal with it. It could all be fixable stuff, but you have to get real nitpicky with all 3 of these prospects. So if I say that's my single biggest red flag of the 3, it's still a pretty small flag.
Maybe a pennant, not a flag.
There you go. Yeah.
Boozer and Wilson at 6'8" and 6'9", it bugs a lot of fans because they feel like, well, they've already spent $50 million on Jackson and $50 million on Markkanen, and now they're about to spend, I don't know, 25 or whatever the number turns out to be on Kessler, assuming that deal gets done. So they got their front line, so why would you draft these guys? Well, you need at least 5 guys to play through those 3 positions, and the 2 guys who are signed at $50 million are signed for 3 years, and there's a decent chance so they're flipped maybe after 2 years because you can't afford everything going forward, everybody at every price they want. So one is flipped. So I think that is zero impact on this draft. If you think Boozer or Wilson is the best player available, then you take them. I think it will work out in the short run. There could be injuries also. And I think it'll definitely work out in the long run. So that wouldn't impact me at all. What do you think?
I think you are exactly right there. Generally speaking, if you're an NBA team approaching the draft, I think best player available should be priority number 1. I think it's pretty rare that a positional fit would trump best player available, and it certainly doesn't apply to Utah being as far away from contention as they've been the last few years. And you mentioned it in there in the question, there's the opportunity to trade. And so you take the best player available, and if he happens to be a big guy and he's ready to lead a team quicker than you realize, then maybe somebody like Markkanen or Triple J still has plenty of value around the league. You can loosen up a logjam in the front court, I think, pretty easily. And the way that the league is trending right now, this stuff can change on a dime. So, maybe it looks different in 4 or 5 years, but right now an abundance of size and strength and physicality is pretty important. And so if you can get a big guy who's also super athletic like Wilson, and I would even throw in Debonsa into this because he's pretty large himself. He's probably going to have to play some 3. So there's maybe a little bit of overlap with Markkanen. But if you have an abundance of size, the way the league is trending right now, that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, definitely not, for sure. And the Jazz have that. And with Ace Bailey, too, they have it even in abundance in the backcourt. And we'll see how he develops. You speak of Debonsa, and, I've seen him in person. We've seen him in person. We've watched him every game. We're intimately familiar with him, and I'm sure you have a level of familiarity, too, not living too far away. And obviously games are available. And the knock on him is the pure three-point shooting. His mid-range, I just was not stunned because I saw it so much, but so impressed with his ability to get, at least at the college level, get around the free throw line and rise above. So I don't necessarily have any issue on that, but if he can hit the 3, they can crowd him and blah, 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 and then be harder or play off him and crowd him as he starts to move closer to the basket. Bottom line, what's your level of concern regarding his shooting from distance?
I would say mild at most. He's a guy who has a lot of skill, and I don't think, especially in today's NBA, it's unusual for athletes to figure out how to shoot over the course of a few years. And from what I've seen, he has the kind of demeanor. He looks like a player who wants to improve, which is huge, and I think he'll figure it out, frankly. What I love about Debonsa is I think he checks a lot of the same boxes that the other guys do without many of the drawbacks. You mentioned the big one. We're not certain that he'll become a knockdown shooter, but even if he develops into like a 35 or 36% guy, I think with the rest of his skill set, that would be good enough. I think he has a lot of the skill, like tough shot making and getting to your spot that Peterson has. I think he has a good feel for the game, like Boozer. And I think it's kind of underrated how big he is. If you've got a ball handler who can play the 2 or the 3, but is also the size of like a power forward and some small ball centers, I think that's a huge deal. So to me, he checks the most boxes. He's number 1 on my personal board, and he feels like the safest of all worlds to me. So is there some concern that he doesn't figure out how to shoot? Yeah. But that one's not really scaring me that much.
The one that scares me a lot is Peterson, because people make a lot of assumptions. But what if the truth is right in front of us, staring us in the face? The people who've known him a long time say this isn't like him. He's not like that. So if people think it's an attitude problem or it's an arrogance or there's an agent informing this is what you need to do now so you can get paid later, I mean, it's plausible. You can't rule it out because that scenario has happened as recently as Ace Bailey, and he does not appear to be who he was portrayed to be at all. It's been night and day being around him, right? But what if the truth is Peterson, playing harder against better competition, did cramp up? What if it isn't about the creatine? What if it's really like he didn't feel good because his body was hurting? Period, end of story. There's no layers to this. It is what it appears to be, because I'm watching the Western Conference Finals now, and there's 2 guys on each team who are out. And in the regular season, we all say they're coasting. They're saving themselves for the playoffs. They don't really care about the regular season, and we get disgusted with attitudes that clubs and players take. But now it's the biggest games. Literally, this feels like the NBA Final. Whoever wins the West should beat whoever wins the East. There's nothing to hold back, and it's 4 guys, 2 on each team, who are either out or went down late in the game or went out partway through. What if Peterson's body can't hold up? Maybe they really are doing more running, cutting, and jumping, and bodies are breaking down more often. Nobody's faking it now. This is what they're here for now. This is the best of times. That means if his body really is breaking down, he is a super risky pick.
I think that's a valid concern. I think you're almost getting into like a league-wide issue here, and I haven't been able to get to the bottom of this. For part of the season, I wondered if teams were just over-reporting calf and hamstring strains, because those specific injuries, the reporting of them just went through the roof this season, and I wondered, is this a way to get around the player participation policy? But like you said, there's really no excuse for guys to be sitting out at this point, and Fox is dealing with an ankle, so his is different. But Jalen Williams is a hamstring. Dylan Harper last night was a hamstring. So I don't know if there's anything the league can do to address this, but it is something that I've been thinking about all season, and in that environment, to be looking at a player who could potentially have cramping and muscle issues. Yeah, I understand why you have some concern there. His skill level, like I said, probably still trumps that concern for me, and I would hope, like, we'll get this guy into our program, we'll figure out what's going on, and he'll be fine. But you're right, there are players whose bodies just aren't as capable of handling the load as others. So I think it's a very valid concern to bring up. Don't
draft Brandon Roy right now. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Wildly talented, but the body broke down.
Yeah.
Do you want to pick an NBA Finals real quick before we go? How's this all going to shake out? Who's going?
I think it's going to be New York and San Antonio. That's kind of what I thought coming into both of those series. I think both of those series are going to be pretty competitive. I think New York will probably get out of theirs earlier than San Antonio does, but I want to say it was like 1999 or something. Those 2 teams met in the finals, so it's kind of a fun rematch. And Wemby's like this emerging face of the league, and New York obviously has its fan base and its market, and I think that would be a cool, really marketable finals, and that's what I'm going with right now.
We appreciate it as always, Andy. Thanks for joining the show and talking hoops with us.
Thanks for having me, guys. Always love being on.
Andy Bailey, NBA writer and analyst for Bleacher Report. Join us right here on The Zone. DJ and PK, everything you missed in the show. Next, stay with us.
3, 2, 1. This is Scotty G and Coach Tim LeComb.
Look, I remember the early days of Shaq. If you're kids these days, you just only know Shaq from inside the NBA, or maybe the later years when he was hopping team to team and was a little out of shape and bigger than he needed to be. You go back and you watch those early 1, 2, 3 years when he was in Orlando, when he was svelte, and that dude, you watched him, you're like, he's changing the game. Shaq changed the game.
With sheer force, and you're exactly right, there was a revolution when Shaq came, no question.
And what we're seeing now is Wemby doing that. Wemby is changing the game of basketball. Not that you can replicate it, because you can't. You can't replicate Wemby, or we'd all be trying to go to the DNA, the dinosaur DNA with the old dude on the island and trying to recreate. You can't. That dude is one of one.
Welcome to Jurassic Park. Catch Scotty G and Coach weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
Slacker Rated Headlines brought to you by Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan Wealth today, your local trusted financial fiduciary. Call them at 1-855-TRAJAN1 or visit their website at TrajanWealth.com. Oh, PK, look up. They're running grainy old video of your Knicks over there. Oh, my gosh. Got the TV on here, and it's a New York-based show.
How would a ring make Brunson the greatest Knick ever?
And they had...
how about 20 rings, maybe?
I was going to say, I was like, what?
Come on. There's no legitimacy in that.
They had old video of somebody. I couldn't tell who it was. I saw it at the last second. It might have been Bradley walking across the court.
No, I'm going. I mean, you got to go somebody off. I'm going Frazier.
I can see why
Willis
you would do
Reed
that.
is there.
Yes. DeBuscher.
Yeah. I mean, I remember all those guys. They were my childhood heroes. And Ewing has to be in that discussion. He didn't win one. But, he had Jordan in the way. That's a funny thing. You could be the greatest thing ever, but somebody in your franchise, but you had Jordan in the way. And I mean, you can argue like
he had
Jazz.
A Game 7 against Olajuwon when Jordan was gone.
I got it.
Yeah.
Olajuwon was better at that point.
Yeah, it was.
So,
And it sucks he had a teammate drop a 2 for 19 game, A couple of shots there might have helped. But now it's his legacy.
I don't remember that. I was watching a car chase.
You do remember that. You remember it all.
That was all the slow speed Bronco down up the 405. Those were wild times for sure.
That was a wild day.
But no, I'm not putting Brunson on that level.
Undersized guy leads him to a title. I mean, it's one game in the conference finals. He's 7 wins away. It's like they have to have this discussion now because they're afraid they can't have it later. Don't save this topic. It might go away.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they barely passed the halfway point.
Right. Yeah, they've got 9 of the 16 wins.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a miracle to get number 9.
Yeah.
But huge for them tonight. We talked about it a little bit. What will the Cavs do differently? The Thunder, they did some suspect stuff. And the Thunder did some suspect stuff in Game 1. And the Thunder changed it, okay? Don't put a little guy on a big guy and leave him there the entire game and think it's going to work. They put big guys on a big guy, and it worked. And I thought, crucially, they rotated Ihart and Holmgren so that Holmgren could use his skills, driving to the hoop, dunking, when Wemby was sitting down. I thought that balance was really good. Now, what are they going to do as far as defending Brunson? Like Wembanyama, he's probably not going to be that hot again. Even if they did the same thing, I'm not sure he could come up with 38 points again. But I don't think they'll do the same thing. They'll do something different. And if he goes for 28 instead of 38, are the Cavs going to win the game?
Well, let him do his thing. Bridges and Shaman hit just as big a bucket. And are they going to do it?
There's that too.
So I'm not a strategy guy. I'm a passion guy, energy guy. And I just like the way the Thunder approached and played the game. It was far more into it, far more aggressive, far more emotional. And
their ability to pass the ball was on full display. There were a couple possessions in there, beautiful. It was like 4 guys touched the ball in 3.5 seconds, and they got a wide open 3 and hit it.
You've got the home crowd. Play to it.
The energy, the enthusiasm, all that kind of stuff, yeah.
Yeah. And I thought Holmgren did that at a much better level.
Cleveland needs to move the ball in the fourth quarter of this game, well, in every quarter of this game, the way they were moving the ball in the middle 2 quarters of Game 1.
Oh, they panicked.
They did. And then all of a sudden there's too much dribbling, there's too much standing still, you're easier to defend. And as hot as New York was, they had to hold Cleveland to 11 points over 12 minutes to win the game.
Right.
Couple more buckets, couple more free throws. And, yeah, they took a 22-point lead down to 8, so what?
Now we get to see what you're made of.
Nice. Hit me with those cliches. Let's go. We got the split we wanted. This is what we needed. Now we're coming home, Cleveland.
Well, any team that is 1-1 and won the second game has a little bit of the momentum.
Yep.
But the momentum can shift very quickly.
Yeah, you win Game 2 on the road. You feel good about it going home. And as soon as you drop Game 3 at home, everything's...
You've
right
done
back. A complete 360.
So that stuff, it only lasts until the ball goes in the air.
Ace Bailey, all-rookie second team. Cooper Flagg, Con Knuppel, VJ Edgecombe, Dylan Harper, Cedric Coward, all on the first team.
And that's good for Ace because you look at Knuppel, and Knuppel's the big surprise of the draft. I mean, you got to give him credit, right? Nobody fought for sure. I can give Charlotte credit for doing that. But Flagg was supposed to do this, and so he's as advertised. Ace Bailey was a little slower developed, and that's fine. That's what once we get to October, I'm going to be saying this 1,000 times. Hey, let's just relax here on this young guy, whoever this young guy is, because you got to allow each kid to develop at his pace. Now, you got to see something. With Cody Williams, we didn't see anything. So I'm not, and this is the number 2 pick, so the expectation is going to be much higher. But for Ace Bailey, he came on and he did enough to show that he's got all sorts of promise. He was as advertised as promise goes, and it took a little bit, but he found his way, and he'll come into this next season with a whole load of confidence. You'll see it. He'll have a big summer, and how good can he be? I think we all believe he's good, but what level? What can he achieve when it's said and done? And we're still a few years away from even thinking about that. But I think I would be shocked if he didn't have a really good sophomore season.
The all-rookie first team was pick 1, 2, 3, 4, and 11. Back to the earlier conversation about the drafts don't always go in order. We'll see how this one shakes out in the long run. It's only 1 year.
But I'm fine with him. Fine that they drafted him. Yeah. And I'm fine with his development. And I have a feeling that I'll be saying the same thing this time next year. Assuming I'm alive.
Cut down on your words if you're not.
Or I'm employed. Who knows?
Aaron Rodgers is coming back for 1 year. He answered definitively, is this your last year? Yes. Praised Mike McCarthy, who there was some friction with at the end in Green Bay, but he said when Tomlin stepped down, he thought he was done, but when it was Mike McCarthy, he considered the return, and now he's back for 1 more year, and depending on bonuses, 20-ish, $25 million, something like that.
Yeah, I don't buy it. I don't think he had very many options, so he's got to say nice things about McCarthy now.
I agree. I think the option was when Tomlin was done, I think he might be down to 0 options.
And once McCarthy said we're good, and Pittsburgh doesn't have very many options, so why wouldn't he say that they're good or he's good with bringing back Aaron Rodgers?
Play young guys, see what you have, and set yourself up for a good draft pick. There's a chance he plays them to the middle of the league, and the run on quarterbacks, they miss out at the top of the draft.
But I don't know that I believe quarterbacks when they say they're going to retire.
You can say whatever today, but new information, change your mind. What if they go out and win 12 games?
And he plays well?
Yeah, and he plays well. I don't think that's going to happen, but if it does...
Well, it's not outrageous.
It's not unbelievable. It could. I wouldn't pick it. I wouldn't predict it. But if they go 12-5 and he plays all 17 games and throws for 4,000 yards and looks great, I don't think that's how it'll play out, but yeah.
Or if he wins the Super Bowl, he'll probably retire.
How about Joe Burrow, who says he's feeling bullish about the makeup of the team, the roster, and proclaimed this the most talented roster we've had since I've been here. They've been to multiple playoffs and they've been to a Super Bowl with him.
Well, I haven't evaluated the Bengals roster for now.
If they fix the defense, because it was atrocious.
So we'll have to see how that plays out. But, I mean, he's a player if healthy.
How many AFC teams do you already have penciled in as playoff teams?
8.
Well, since there's 7 berths, that's not true, but thank you for that. But Denver.
No, you don't. I don't know that you can have any team penciled in as a playoff berth. You have
and Kansas City missed last year, so I get it. But nonetheless, you still have your assumptions, even though you know injuries can gut anything. And
I mean, I could put out the obvious, but that doesn't mean anything.
Broncos, Bills, Chargers.
Fine, yeah. I'm not going to argue with any of those.
You could extend it to Patriots and Chiefs if you want, but I think it starts to get a little dicey. I'm pretty optimistic on New England, but Why
wouldn't you be?
I have seen I've seen teams that lose the Super Bowl crash, especially young teams that get there early. Then they right the ship and the core goes along and has a great run. I would probably put them in before the Chiefs, honestly. The Chiefs have a difficult schedule and a very difficult division. And they got guys coming back from injury, and it's not clear how shorthanded they'll be with Mahomes at the start of the year.
You got 2 teams in the East, 3 teams in the North. Let's see, at least 2, probably just 2 in the South, and 3 in the West. But they're all not going to make it.
Right. 10 teams fighting for 7 spots.
Yeah.
And the other 5 are like, well, congrats, Miami, but you're a long-term project. Raiders, you're a long-term project.
I'd go
Browns are a project.
Minimum 2 teams, probably 3 in the NFC East. I don't think, despite the record and the lousy seasons, I don't think the Giants are super far away.
Totally agree. If I were looking
for
a
surprise team,
if I were looking for someone to pick on a worst for first basis, I would go right to the Giants. I think they have some of the elements that we see when that happens, and it usually happens each year.
I can go all 4 teams in the North.
Any of those 4 can make it for sure.
Yeah, and I can go
the only division of football where you can actually say that
1 or 2. Well, it's got to be 1. So certainly I can go 2 in the South, and then again the 3 in the West.
You got Carolina fighting Atlanta in the Tampa Bay in the South, and rolling out Atlanta and New Orleans.
No, I'm not ruling out Atlanta.
Okay.
No.
That division feels wide open.
If you won 8 games, you're not that far away.
Right.
And Atlanta had a bunch of quarterback injury.
And you don't have a 14-team win parked in that division, so it's wide open. Just get to 10. And you didn't even need to get to 10 last year, but this year you might.
Right. So
you got 3, 5, 7, 11 teams in the NFC.
But
for 7 berths.
What does that mean?
Yeah. It means Minnesota's the 11th of the 7.
Get me to December,
That's your
and
biggest,
we'll have a better idea.
Minnesota's your biggest reach there.
I mean,
of the 11.
Maybe.
The perennial who could be in trouble is a team that you have correctly noted that I have loved for a long time. Sorry, Yak, but your Niners, worrisome. Older team, got older.
Did you see the
hard
tweet
schedule,
I just
hard
retweeted?
decision.
Did you see the tweet he just retweeted?
I did not. I was making eye contact
Let
with
me
PK.
grab it. Hang on.
Go ahead and look. That'll give you something to look at. You'll be excited. You're intrigued. Now you must see it. It doesn't take much to get you excited.
So this comes from Sharp Football. Warren Sharp, he's an analyst on social media.
Warren Sharp?
Yeah.
And he played defensive line?
Quote, Mac Jones had more pass attempts than Brock Purdy last year. George Kittle missed 6 games. Ricky Pearsall missed 8 games. Brandon Ayuk was out all year. Nick Bosa played just 3 games. Fred Warner went down week 5 and on and on and on. 49ers still won 12 games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
Kyle Shanahan is incredible.
Oh, Kyle Shanahan.
So
he's
watch out.
Mike Shanahan's won Super Bowls, and he's not even the best coach in his family.
Okay, well, let's stop there. Hold on. Until Junior gets a ring, he can't.
That's like Joe Garagiola played in the big leagues, and he wasn't even the best catcher on his block.
That's an awesome one.
It's good, yeah.
And I've stood in front of both of their childhood houses.
Yogi Berra, look him up, kids. All right, DJ and PK, anything else? Shohei, why do I have to put him in the lineup against the Padres? It's the first pitch of the game out for a home run.
You answered your own question.
And they win 4-0. He throws 5 shutout innings.
Yeah, I was really concentrating on that game, flicking back and forth between that and the NBA because Shohei is a must-see. He does hit the home run.
How about the double play got Tatis to hit him, too?
That was huge.
Bases loaded in the fifth.
That was a play of the game, and you saw all the emotion.
Tatis isn't hitting a lick.
Yeah, because he's not on roids. I was surprised that they took him out after 5, but then I started thinking, I'm wondering if they thought, well, we're going to have him bat. And so maybe that's the way they approach it. They take him off the 6-7 inning rotation, take him out.
You're not as gassed. You don't pitch as much. You don't have to. You probably don't face anybody a third time. If you're only going 5 innings, you might be able to get through it.
And then if it's a close game, and that series, they're all close games, and then maybe we need his bat in the 7th or 8th inning or 9th inning or something. I'm wondering if there was some strategy involved there, that not just, we got to take him out now. If they actually went into that. As I was watching that, because I was a little surprised they took him out after 5, I mean. But I wonder if that was the idea going in. And he hits the home run. He's such an electric player. I had an opportunity to see him hit a home run against the Yankees when he was with the Angels. And, wow, the place just went nuts because they were down 2 and had a couple guys on, and he hits a 3-run home run.
DJ and PK, we're back with your feedback next. Stay with us.
Ready or not, summer is coming, and Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance is on now. Right now through May 25th, get up to 70% off everything home at Wayfair. Plus, score amazing doorbuster deals all sale long and surprise flash deals on Memorial Day. We're talking thousands of products at every style and budget. Now is the time to save big on must-haves for your patio, backyard, and beyond. These savings won't last, so don't wait. Shop Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance now through May 25th.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
You think you're sick of them now? Oh, you were sick of them then. You know what happened 40 years ago today? What happened?
40 years ago today? It was unbelievable.
Ralph Sampson threw in that, flicked in that quick catch and shoot, launched it over Kareem, and the ball bounced around and went in. And the Rockets beat the Lakers in the Western Conference playoffs.
Yeah, I think that was only like a 2 out of 3 then.
No, that was when they beat him with Moses in 81. This was a conference final. It was 4 games to 1. But the one the Rockets also had that other one in 1980. And those were like the only 2 times Magic lost in the Western Conference playoffs in more than a decade.
But was that the season Magic was injured?
Magic hurt his knee in 80, came back for the playoffs, but wasn't 100%, and they lost the best 2 out of 3.
Oh, so that wasn't this one.
Right. The 86 one, the Lakers needed retooling. The original group was running out of gas, and they brought in Michael Thompson.
Yeah, I was living there at the time.
Went on another run, won their back-to-backs, and went to 3 straight NBA Finals. So, yeah, but they lost like 2 playoff series in the Western Conference in a decade. It was crazy. Their dominance is overwhelming. So 40 years ago today, the Rockets got that win. Time for your feedback. Ace Bailey was named as all-rookie second team. Is that good enough? Gary, that's not quite our expectations! Exclamation point. Gary wants more.
Well, as a kid, yes, that's good enough.
Scott says he struggled early with health but came on strong. It seems about right.
I agree.
And Michael says sounds about right. Brian, yes, if he would have popped sooner, he would have been first team. He came on late and got progressively better. Good for Ace.
There's nothing that he lost or didn't gain or would have gained by being first team or second team. I don't even think it's a big deal to win Rookie of the Year.
That still becomes a footnote. What do you do after that?
Right. He showed enough promise to think you got a player, and that's what you want.
Tyler says, I think with how they used him this year, he didn't really have a chance for first team. It'll be interesting to see what he becomes next year when we are actually trying to win.
Well, that's what's going to be so cool, man, because now, in a sense, everybody's going into the season with a clean slate. Now, there are reps. There's no doubt about it. But this group together has literally won nothing. And now you're not playing favorites. I don't know that I have any deference to any of them. And if Keontae shows, hey, no, I'm the man, okay, I don't care. Just win the game. And maybe it's such that the team is that the strength will be in the diversity of the high level of talent that all these guys have, so there won't be a specifically defined man. And maybe, as Locke says, we get to February, and there is. We shall see. I think that if there is, I think his point being halfway through the season probably is the time that comes to pass. This is going to be so fascinating to see how this develops.
Should the Jazz give Cam Boozer a serious look? James, no. Jim, no. Kelly, absolutely not.
Why?
They like AJ and Peterson. Jason, AJ or Peterson, whoever's still there, don't make this harder than it needs to be. Troy, yeah, he might be the best player to match up against Wemby. Get him.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
No, he's not. No.
Because he'll stand on the perimeter and pull Wemby away from the hoop is the point.
Wemby can cover everything. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, but you got to guard Wemby.
Oh,
no, he's not going to.
That's what Kessler's here for. Boozer's like, Walker, that's your guy. Go get him.
Oh, maybe they find some type of switch if he's out on the perimeter versus down low.
Rick says got to be AJ or Boozer. Peterson's a sizable risk. There's too many red flags.
Are there red flags, man?
That is the question, right?
And maybe you'll be glad that there were red flags because that allowed you to get Ace Bailey, and that worked, as opposed to Peterson and DeBonsa, and there are some red flags. So I don't want to say you luck into Peterson, but because he's got these issues, you end up taking him, and then he blows up, and he's friggin' Clyde Drexler.
Scotty G and the coach Tim Lacombe next, right here on The Zone.
Ready or not, summer is coming, and Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance is on now. Right now through May 25th, get up to 70% off everything home at Wayfair. Plus, score amazing doorbuster deals all sale long and surprise flash deals on Memorial Day. We're talking thousands of products at every style and budget. Now is the time to save big on must-haves for your patio, backyard, and beyond. These savings won't last, so don't wait. Shop Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance now through May 25th.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Summer is all about freedom, fun, and growing up. And between the ages of 9 and 13, kids are starting to form their views about alcohol. With more independence, their still developing brains need more guidance and support than ever. That's why summer is the perfect time to stay connected and plan fun, safe family activities together. Research shows kids who spend quality time with their parents doing what they enjoy are less likely to drink underage. And when kids feel close to you, they're more likely to listen, especially when you set clear expectations. In fact, kids who drink before 15 are far more likely to struggle with alcohol later. This summer, create a no-bummer summer with fun, alcohol-free activities for your kids. Go to summer.parentsempowered.org to take a quick quiz and discover ideas tailored to your family. A little time together can make a big difference. For more information and to learn more about how to prevent underage drinking, visit parentsempowered.org.